guys. I believe we are live. We're here for the Cox Plate preview and, of course, the Randwick preview as well. Cashy, joined by Nick. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, man. Not too bad. It's a good weekend of racing last week and should be even better this week. So looking forward to it.
Oh, so much to unpack and so much to preview. You know, a big Randwick card. We've got a big Cox Plate card. We'll even touch on maybe Moonee Valley on the Friday night as well. Moonee Valley Gold Cup night. Because I've got a couple of tips swimming around there as well. But, I mean, let's just get stuck into last week. There's just so much to actually touch on. Where to begin? I'll let you, first thing that comes to mind from last week, whether it be the Everest, whether it be the Sydney Stakes, whether it be King Charles Stakes, go ahead.
I think the best thing about me personally was Think About It was okay.
Oh, my goodness me.
Yeah, I honestly, I feel like I've seen a couple of falls when I've been at the track and when I've been at the races, but after seeing Think About It fall like that, I know everyone around us, like all of our mates, were pretty flat.
So flat.
Like, I don't know why. Like, it's obviously really sad, but usually it's, you just got to understand it's part of the industry, unfortunately. It's obviously what the protesters, unfortunately, they kind of want that so they can market that kind of thing. But I wouldn't say they want that, but they market that kind of thing. And it was terrible to see, but thank God he was okay.
Oh, mate, I just, look, again, I've seen plenty of falls. None where the curtains have had to go up. They either go off the track before they have to be euthanized or they get up and they're fine. So for a horse like that on such a big day to go down in such a horrific way as well, usually it's not always on camera. It was on camera the entire time. You could see it in the back straight, but you couldn't look away from it because on the big screen, you could see it in the background. It was absolutely harrowing. So flat, so sad. Then 15 minutes later, we get the call that it's all clear, and you think, oh, it's probably still touch and go. But a day later, it's fine. It's on the farm. It's retired now. What a career. Let's have a career. Round of applause. Round of applause. Think about it. Great career. But the main thing is it's alive. It's incredible. Yeah. Genuine Undertaker stuff. Sitting up when everyone thought it was gone.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
But on that, the winner of the race, it was hard to celebrate tipping the winner because of what happened, but Overpass probably proved that it should have been in the Everest. Does it win if it was in the Everest?
No, probably not. Probably doesn't win if it's in the Everest, but good run. It was a good race, a good day. Obviously then the Everest came. Bella Nip got up for you, which was good. Thought Stormboy did well. Probably did all that he really could. I thought once it got a bit of rain into the track, it probably went against him. But I didn't think he was too far off. He was probably in the top 3 until the last 20 metres, 15 metres, really.
But, I mean, that's what I expected. I expected the race to be a blanket finish. I thought all of these horses are going to be separated by no more than 2 lengths. So that's why I thought any one of those horses could have found their way into the placings because there was going to be one winner and then they were all going to be lined up and they were just all going to have to be separated by whiskers. So I think he had a great run. Don't discount him just because he came 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever he ended up, because again, he's less than a length off them in the end. The big surprise was I Wish I Win. I thought he and Giga Kick were going to have opposite runs. I thought he was going to flash home for second and Giga Kick was going to drop out the back. Still only 2 lengths off, but last is last. And boy, complete opposites.
I know a lot of people are probably waiting to get us in the comments there for that one. So it's good to get that one right because sometimes we don't, but it was good to get that one right. But not a great run. Probably didn't do too much. Lady Camelot was probably the surprise. I thought she probably did a little bit better than.
I thought she was going to snag 3rd there and get me a good payout.
But good race. And then we'll touch on the Caulfield Cup.
Well, just quickly, I just want to touch on Bella Nipotina and what happens now with her. So tough. She went forward with the wide barrier. Everyone thought she was going to get dragged a bit too far back, but she went, no, I'm going to go 3 wide, no cover, and I'm just going to dig and win. But now, where does she go now? Do you reckon she goes to the sprint, which was the winner's stakes? It's got a different name now. The sprint on Golden Eagle Day. Do you think she goes off for a spell? Do you think she goes to Perth? She's nominated over there. Doesn't mean she's going. or do you think she actually retires?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't think they retire her. I think she's doing very well at the moment. I just hope they don't send her overseas. Just please don't send her overseas.
A lot of people commented like, "Oh, she's headed to Ascot." Don't do that.
Yeah, please, just don't send her overseas. If you send her overseas, her career's done.
Yeah.
Don't send her overseas.
Look, I put out a poll. A lot of people said go for the back-to-back Everest. A lot of other people said run until she fails. Then as soon as she starts to take a back step, send her to retirement.
I think that's a lot of trainers are doing it. It's not really working. He's trying to go back-to-back Everest when you probably need to capture that form when it's there. If it runs not too well, then you take it to a spell. Look, I don't know how to train horses, but that's just what I think personally. If I had a horse and I had to make the decision, as long as it's not hurting the horse,
that's what I mean. I think just retire her now. What is there left to prove? But again, maybe I'm just too sentimental. After seeing what happened in the nature strip, and they just ran him until like he was just nowhere near his best, and his legacy sort of faded towards the end there. And what happened with Very Elegant when she went overseas, the legacy sort of fades. I'm a big go out on top guy. Like as soon as Imperatriz took one step back, they're like, "Yep, we're at the top. Let's not risk it. Let's go after the breeding barn." Same with Winks.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that as long as the step back is at the right time. I think nature strip was probably a little bit too much, but I don't want them to pull her out, and it's always the what if. I don't like that with the what if. What would happen? They could win 6 more races, whatever it is, win more money. So
someone said like, "Oh, she's going to be running until like she's 8 or 9," but that would be like 70 plus starts, and if she's still winning at 70 plus starts, freak. But yeah, Caulfield Cup, Zardozi, great trial for the Melbourne Cup if she pushes on. Who knows if she does? Buckaroo arguably should have won, but Duke de Sessa just leads and gets the job done.
Yeah. Harry Coffey getting his Caulfield Cup. It's good to see.
You love to see that.
Pretty funny to see that he told his family not to come.
Yeah.
So
and they're all at the pub. Well, we probably should have gone. Like I believe I saw his brothers at the pub with his mates.
I saw that.
Immediately on the phone to the parents, like going like, "Damn, like we should have gone."
Yeah. No, that's awesome. It's good to see. Yeah, I thought Buckaroo was pretty unlucky,
But in saying that, Caulfield has been playing to the leaders all Caulfield Carnival. So, again, showed the initiative to go forward there.
I just got mixed up a little bit there.
Duke de Sessa, was up on pace and just took the initiative to just go early and then just try and outrun them. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't as dramatic as an Antino, wasn't dramatic as some of the other rides we've seen that took initiative, but he didn't sit back and wait. Gia Morera sat back and waited on Buckaroo. And that's, it's what you pay for. People came out and said, Buckaroo should have won that race, but swings and roundabouts. Hindsight's a great thing. Looking back on it, but Coffey had the initiative and he rode the winner. Only other thing to really touch on before we get really stuck into it, King Charles Stakes. We said Major Bill was going to fuck with Pride of Jenny, and look what happened. And she gets tired out and she comes second. Brave to come second, but when she finally had someone put some pressure on her, she folded like a deck chair.
I wouldn't say she folded like a deck chair. That's pretty harsh. Came second.
That's true.
She didn't fold like a deck chair. I reckon you're just saying that just to say that to piss some people off, I think. But yeah, it was always going to happen, and I think that guy, one of the
Tony
owners?
Otterbury, he's the biggest flog in racing.
Yeah.
To come out and be like, "Oh, it's improper. Like there needs to be some investigation here." After trainers and jockeys all said that's racing. Like no issues.
It's a big call, biggest flog in racing. Jeez.
But like, I don't know if you're caught up on racing Twitter. Like he's had a lot of controversy.
I don't use Twitter, to be honest.
He's every time anybody speaks badly of Pride of Jenny, he like basically jumps down their throat. He self-banned himself from Twitter because he said that he was getting too far carried away. Miles Fitz said on the radio he didn't think Pride of Jenny was going to win a race this spring, and Otterbury absolutely unleashed on him. And after that, he took a step back from Twitter. And then again, after this, she finally lost after someone pressured her, and all of a sudden, "Oh, they're out to get us. How dare they?" Like you can't be doing that. That's so improper. That's racing. Like you pressure the favourite. You pressure the leader. You don't let them cross. That is literally racing. Like I can't see why he would be like, it was probably just in the emotions, and he's come out and said, "Look, probably shouldn't have been so over the top, but we'll have a plan B in the Cox Plate." Apparently, maybe she's not going fully to the front. I think that's bullshit as well. She'll probably lead, but that horse is so many questions around that horse always. Is she going to lead? Is she going to take a sit? Is she going to hold on? Is she not?
I know you're very keen to jump on the fold like a deck chair. Can we talk about who actually fold like a deck chair? Your girl, Fangirl.
Yeah, disappointing. Someone said, I'm probably crying into my cereal that Amelia's jewel beat her home. Yeah, just didn't let down in the end. I mean...
thought J-Mac had a pretty average day in the end, to be honest.
Oh, he's just got the nervous 99s. He's stuck on 99.
No, you got the 100.
No, they weren't. That was a Group 3 race. They weren't early.
I saw it come up on the screen.
It was a Group 3.
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. I saw it as well and immediately went.
And it didn't look like him in that photo either.
It was strange.
Yeah, strange.
But
I thought he got because that confused me because when I was trackside when he
because you were right down on the fence for that race.
Yeah, I was with a couple of the boys down there and I look up and it goes 100 Group 1 win and I was like, I don't think that was a Group 1.
That wasn't in the tip off.
Yeah,
that's strange.
Yeah,
but nervous 99s I reckon for him. He's after Autumn Glow got scratched, which was going to be a gimme. He's now searching for that 100th Group 1. Does it come this weekend potentially? But I think maybe Fangirl definitely has to drop out of my best horse in the country. I think she's still in the top 5, but
I can't believe
she can't be my best in the country now. But Cheerwolf, he's definitely going to be up there in my top 5 rankings come the end of spring. He's the $5 favourite for horse of the spring at the moment, you'd have to say.
Yeah,
he's come out of nowhere.
I'd say he's up there for the horses. Maybe Buckaroo as well was up there for
great point.
Another one.
I feel really good for Chad Schofield though. No one was touching him in big races, and all of a sudden now he's gotten 2 Group 1s, and he'll be back in the fold. He's a great guy, deserves it. Fantastic.
Awesome.
But yeah, should we just get stuck into the hotline?
Yep, we're getting the hotline. Get it up, mate.
All right, as we're getting the hotline up, guys, I will remind you, if you're watching on the YouTube right now, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, head over to the YouTube because I want you to comment who you think is going to win the Cox Plate because we have got a spring giveaway thanks to our friends over at Dabble. They're giving away a merch pack. If you comment who you think is going to win, you get 1 entry. If it gets up in the race, you get 5 entries, okay? We had plenty of entries last week. We had a couple snag Bella Nipotina. No one snagged Duke de Sessa, I don't think, or maybe it was the other way around, but we've got 1 person sitting on 5 entries and a bunch of others sitting on just the 1. So if you're listening or watching right now, comment who you think is going to win the Cox Plate because you could end up in the draw to win some Dabble merch. All right, mate, let's get stuck into here. We have got John Snitzel.
Yeah, g'day boys. John Snitchell back here. I think with broadsiding, they should have put Tyler Schiller on him instead of Jamie Carr because Jamie Carr is just a and is out of form currently, whilst Tyler Schiller, I think, is one of the most underrated jockeys in Australia right now and doesn't get the respect on his name.
All right, we won't go too much into that, but do you think Tyler Schiller should have gotten the broadsiding ride?
Probably not at the moment. I think he's not far off in a couple of years, but I think Jamie Carr's been there in big races. I think Tyler just hasn't been there in those big races just yet. I know you kind of got to give that opportunity for it to happen, but no, I don't think so. I think he's a couple more years, needs to get his craft right, get good in those big situations, and Jamie Carr's just been there before.
It's a very fair call. This is from Lockie Howard. He's put his name as Animo would win this year's Cox Plate.
Just got a bit of a question, because I thought personally the last 2 years of the Cox Plate have been absolutely unreal for like the viewer and the casual punter. This year's Cox Plate just doesn't feel the same. I don't know if it's because the Everest was so good and this maybe feels underwhelming to me personally, but I just want to see your guys' thoughts if you think this year's edition just isn't as maybe good as the other 2 from the last 2 years.
Not as good as the last few years,
I definitely feel the same way.
But thank God it didn't end up being a 6-horse field. That would have been boring, even though it would have been a stacked field. I prefer getting to at least 8 because it changes up. It makes it more tactical, I would think. Now that you've got a Royal Patronage that could maybe go forward and lead a bit, you've also got a Kovalika hanging out the back there that if they go super fast could get that slipstream and rattle home. I think that makes it a little bit more interesting than the 6, maybe 5 horse field we were potentially getting this time a week ago. But yeah, I would say the last couple of years have been stronger additions.
Yeah, I think this one definitely doesn't help. But last week, the Everest was just insane. I think it's a bit, but yeah, fair enough.
And then shower bets, like always.
Hey boys.
Strong stream this week.
Did all right last week. Didn't tip too many. Deny knowledge was okay in the car. Crown Empire was close, but we had a good win on Overpass and a good multi on Overpass top 3 and Southport Tycoon top 3. Anyway, boys, sorry, on to the tips. I got a lot of tips this week. I'm going to go through it fast. Friday Jenny, Red Aces, Kingswood, Certain Rise, Zoo Gotcha, El Costello, Faulkner Park, High Octane. Sticking with mostly Randwick, well, half almost, but I've had my luck with Randwick. Something about bloody any track in Melbourne, I just suck, boys. Really, really hoping for some luck this week, boys. And I think Journey can get it done in the Cox Plate. If not, broadsiding. I'd like to hear what you boys think about it. Cheers, boys. Shout bets out.
Huge.
All right. Thank you, shower bets. Yeah, rattled off a lot of tips there. Hopefully a few of them get across the line for him as he had a pretty good week last weekend, as you heard. All right, mate. Let's head to the listener questions. I know we've got quite a few.
Yep. Let's get them up. How does it feel to be both losing to Miss Mock in the tipping comp?
Yeah, well, standard. My girlfriend is a better punt than me, so I'm not surprised. But there's still plenty of races to go. I can't wait to snag the Melbourne Cup winner and soar past her.
Why don't you also do an early quaddie paid heaps more than the second on Saturday at Randy?
I mean, it's something to look into. Maybe we could in future weeks. Something to look into. It's a good suggestion.
Yeah, maybe we will. The Big A making a comeback. Judd Taylor.
No, Anamo's too horny for that. He's too busy serving hundreds of fillies right now.
Is Giga Kick back, or is he looking for that softer ground?
I think it's a bit of both. I think the fact that he's finally gotten fit enough and he got to the third up, ready to peak. I think the Champions Sprint will be interesting if he does go to the Champions Sprint, which I think he probably will. Get him back down the Flemington Straight and see if he can fly. I think that'll be a telling point.
And Damon Winley goes, race 7, Moonee Valley, number 8. I'm declaring it on a Wednesday. Well done, mate. We'll wait and see. Benny O'Brien, why does everyone discount Brightside at 2,000 after the Cox Plate in his last 2,000?
Because he's unlike, last year's Cox Plate is the only time he's run good at 2,000. Every other time he's been very, very average.
Cool. And then the last couple of questions are all about the Cox Plate, which we'll get into during our Cox Plate rundown in a little bit. So
yep. Remember, guys, if you ever at any point know who you think is going to win the Cox Plate, comment it below and you'll go into the draw for the giveaway. All right, we're going to head into our Randwick rundown and our tips. Look, it should be a good 4. There's only some sort of rain that's going to be around on Thursday, but I don't think it'll be enough to push us into soft 5, soft 6, soft 5 at a maximum. It should be good 4 come the start on Saturday. The rail's out 5 metres, 600 metres to the winning post, out 3 metres for the remainder. So this is when leaders start to get involved a bit. No guarantee for track bias, but just monitor it. You'll probably want to be a bit more forward on Saturday to get the best chance. Race 1, 1,000 metre Kirkham Plate. It's 2-year-olds, mate. This was won by Shangri-La Express last year. And so all but one hasn't seen the races before, so it's very hard to judge them. You have to go mostly off of trials. You see Comedy is the fittest horse in the race, you'd think, because it's got the 2 trials, other than, of course, the one horse that has 1 trial and 1 actual start. It was, of course, in the Gimcrack Stakes, that being Fairy Steps, but it was a very long last, hence why it's at $126 here. Chikama was good in its trial, but you'd think at $1.3 million, you'd hope it's be running well here for the Waterhouse stable. I'm going with the other Waterhouse horse, the Little General, will get sent forward. I mean, even though it's only had the 1 trial, it'll be fit. That's all you need to know with Gaybot 2-year-olds. They get them fit as an absolute fiddle. $9.50 to win, $2.40. It's a price I love. I definitely think he can find his way into the placings, if not win here. The Little General to kick off the day for me.
Fair enough. I'm going the other Gaybot horse, Chikama. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Chikama, really good in its trial. I'm glad you covered it.
Yeah, $4. And in the 7th barrier, Timmy Clark, they just know how to do it over there. I don't know too much about 2-year-olds this year round, so I won't be punting too heavily on this race. But with that, I'll take you to the next race. Race 2, benchmark 72 at the 1200 here. I'm going to keep it pretty simple for me here. Going with Dill Gibbons. Let's go again. $8.50, $2.80 in the second. Last run, 3rd place, and the 2 before that, 2 wins, all on different types of grounds. So versatile if it gets to that wet track, looking good, but can get it done on the good track as well.
Mad Darcy, $21 to win, $5 a place. In a play where I'm just looking for a place, honestly. One of those old, $2.50 win, $7.50 place sort of jobs. Forgive first up. She pulled up lame. Usually thereabouts in these types of races. We've tipped her before. We've won on her before in a midway. So if she can bounce back off that first up, she's certainly a chance. $21 to win, $5 a place each way. More on the place rather than the win. Race 3, 1,600 metre, Class 3 highway. Giving Straight Fire one last chance here, punters. I've been on its last 2 appearances. It just keeps getting far too back and just rattles home into the placings or a narrow 4th or 5th. Hopefully just settles closer to them and gets a much deserved win here. $6 to win, $2.30 to place. Straight Fire for me in the highway.
I'm going Hulu here. 14th barrier. I'm going to forgive its last run. It's been there and thereabouts every time before that. $9.50, $3 for a place. Looking very nice. Head over to race 4, 1,200 metres. The Brian Crowley Stakes. It's got to be high octane for me. Coming down versus a lot less talent here. Running behind, obviously, Switzerland, only 3.5 lengths behind. And before that, down in Flemington, behind Growing Empire, who just came 3rd in an Everest. Good form enough to go off. I know it wasn't really there and thereabouts, but it was behind it. And this field is a lot less in depth than it's been racing. So high octane for me looks like the clear pick.
Smashing Time is one of my better chances for the day. Was running around with a certain horse named Broadsiding in the winter. He got nowhere near him, but I mean the class alone shone through when this horse managed to get the job done first up. I believe it was at Kembla. Made the punters sweat. It was at like $1.20 and only got up by a nose. But I think now that it's found some winning form, it can go on with the job in easier class than it's used to compared to that Winter Carnival. I'll gladly take $3.40 here for Smashing Time in the 4th. We move to the Calendar Presnell. Race 5 on the card. It's the Group 2 1,600 metre here. Just Party and Anode are your 2 favourites. It's the only one that anyone's sort of interested in. Do you think it's a 2-horse race?
Yeah, I was thinking of saying that Prost might be a sneaky chance, but I think Just Party, their battle last couple of weeks back was pretty good. Just Party was so close.
Yeah. Anode was really starting to tire 100 metres out from the line, and that's when Just Party really started to get going, which is why it almost nabbed it on the line. Anode stuck on and got the job done, but that makes me think 1,600 metres won't be as strong as Just Party at 1,600 metres. Anode has one start at 1,600 metres, of course. It was at Group 1 back in the autumn. That was on an absolutely destroyed track, so don't read into it too much. I'm reading into the fact that he was tiring late where she was just getting going, and she gets that extra ground. Just Party, just because she wears pink silks. How sexist am I? But yeah, I think Just Party gets a well-earned victory here at $2.80.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just that last 100 metres, exactly what you said. So Just Party for me as well. Move to race 6, 1,800 metres. Pretty tough one here. A lot of horses that are not too bad, but a lot of them haven't been really doing this well this prep, I'd say. I'm going to go with Democracy Manifest, I think. Been pretty luckless so far. Nash rides $5 and has been not too far behind them, behind Tom Kitten and Charles Wolf, but it's still pretty far behind. But all these horses that he's coming against have had pretty much similar starts to their prep, so it's nothing new for Democracy Manifest. Should get it done.
Yeah, look, now that I'm hopping off Democracy Manifest, it'll probably piss in and you get to jump on board and get all the spoils. I'm just not sure about it over 1,800 metres, but it has always been really strong through the line this prep, so I do respect you for going it, mate. But Faulkner Park, boom, Caulfield Cup favourite before it picked up a little bit of injury in the Underwood, and then the camp decided that it, just prefers the Sydney way of going, so they weren't going to try and push onto the Caulfield Cup. Let's just come back to easier company and more familiar surroundings in Sydney for Faulkner Park. Trusting that they wouldn't run him unless he was 100%. I know he picked up a little bit of an injury in that race, but if he wasn't 100%, surely they're not running him here. And his 100% is better than this field, so I think he can run a really strong race. Don't let me down, old boy. I've won a lot of money on this horse, and don't let me down, Annabelle Neesham, by running him undercooked. Run him at his best, $4.40. Great price to have if he's at his best. We skip race 7 and 8 because they're in the tip-off. We go to race 9, 1,500 metre 5 Diamonds Prelude. One of the races of the day, if not close to the race of the day. It's so open. Just about any horse in this race can win. It's going to be making the quaddie picking very hard. I could make a case for just about all of them, so I'll get straight to the point of who I'm on that's a more victorious. One last start against some very good horses, and the start before that just got run down by Cheerwolf, and we know how good he has become. We'll take a hard lead and try and beat them with pace. If it is playing to leaders on the day, I think he is the horse to really be on here. At $7 to win, $2.30, a more victorious for me.
I liked Ozapenko, but I think Ozapenko at the 1,500 is not the right distance for Ozapenko. So I'm going with Territory Express. Zach Lloyd on board, 13th barrier, $5.50. Yeah, look, not too much to go off here. It came behind here to Shock and Gringotts last start. And didn't do too bad. I think it finished.
Had to weave through a lot of traffic.
Yeah, two and a half lengths fell off, so it wasn't too bad. Gonna give it a go here. So Territory Express, race 10, 1,600. I'm going with Townsend here. $14, $3.60 for a place. Just got gelded. Massive tick. Has had 5 trials before its last run where it came last behind NCAP and Joel Wolf, where it's been racing against really good horses. It's only got 52 kilos on its back. Rachel King on board. Can win. $14, $3.60. One of my better value bets for the day, I'd say.
I'm also going with value. It's Zoology for me. Import, yes. Big price, yes. First start had 61 kilos and was from barrier 17. Forget it, went around. This is where we really get to judge it to see if it's going to be able to hack it down under. God, I'll look like a genius if it gets up here. $23 to win, $5 to place. Zoology in the last to go out with a bang on Spring Champion Day.
Fair enough.
All right, mate. Let's head to the Great Spring Tip-Off and a bit of a score check. I have taken the lead on you after my day on Everest Day. Everyone thought I was out and gone. I thought I was out and gone there. You were paying $1.10 to piss in Punter of the Spring.
Oh,
wow. But you were definitely the favourite, though, but we've got a contest on our hands now.
Yeah, look, there's still a lot of races to go, and
Definitely.
I was never very, very confident where I knew I was going to run away from it. I knew you were 1 or 2 wins, but I think you've gone with the early crow, mate. You're posting a lot of things on the social media that you're this big guy and you're texting me and stuff. So you've gone the early crow. You told me that I'm going to be in Macca's, so we'll wait and see. I'd like to take it one race at a time, mate. So you're not that far in front of me. You're pretty much even with me. I'm 2 points in front of you.
I'd
barely say you're beating me.
I'm a value place in front of you. So
I'd say I've been pretty unlucky as well. I've had a couple close misses.
Tom Kitten had gotten up in that Epsom.
Tom Kitten.
Or Zardozi in the Metropolitan.
Both of those I'd be far ahead of you. So we'll wait and see, mate.
There's still like 20 plus races as well.
No. There's lots of time. But we'll go have a look at it. Where do you want to start, mate?
We'll go race 7 at Randwick, the Group 1 Spring Champion Stakes for the 3-year-olds. This is their last sort of point of call before they either go away for a spell or they head to the Oaks or Derby during Cup Week. A lot of talent in this race. A lot of horses that I don't know as well as last year's field. We got to know last year's field very well. But this one, it's kind of been a mishmash of form. Last year's field, they all sort of came through the exact same races, but they're coming from all over in this sort of race this year. So how are you seeing this field?
Yeah, it's a bit different. I'm a bit on your team here with not as many horses as last year that we can kind of recognise. There's one horse here that if you listen to the podcast, you probably know who I'm going to be on. It's Swift Falcon for me. Got a bit unlucky last start, chased down pretty well, just to nab the second place behind the next best chance, I'd say. But I think Swift Falcon looked better. Ran down the last couple meters a bit better. Gets the extra 200 here, which I think will do him well. He's been pretty good this spring as well, so it's going to be Swift Falcon for me.
Look, that race was a borderline trial for Swift Falcon and Henline. They both got dragged all the way to the back and then closed off so impressively. Swift Falcon more impressively than Henline. Like, Swift Falcon, can't believe it got to second place and almost even a win from the position it was. If it wasn't dragged all the way back, should have absolutely pissed in.
I couldn't believe it watching
especially since it was your best bet.
I know.
That was the day where you got robbed of your best bet and then Kovaliga got pipped by attrition. That was so frustrating of a day there. But, I mean, you can make the case for Swift Falcon, you can make the case for Henline, but I'm going to make the case for a horse that's a bit left field, $17 to win, $3.60 to place. I went a roughie in last year's Spring Champion in Madatsu. It didn't really go that well for me. Hopefully it goes better here. The filly, I think she's going to run a really good race here and head to the Oaks as one of the favourites. I just think it came home just as good as a Henline did. Not as good as a Swift Falcon, but it was right behind Swift Falcon, closing off in that exact same race. Super strong through the line. Gets up to the 2,000 metres now. Maybe she wants that Oaks distance of, the 2,400 plus, the 2,500. But I think if she can run a bold race here and even just run into the placings, I'm happy with that at $3.60 to place. Obviously, I want that $17 win. But, and again, Chad Schofield, we touched on how he is absolutely flying at the moment. I think, a bit of a roughie in the Spring Champion Stakes for me. Rag Queen.
Fair enough.
We'll go to the Invitation now. And this one is a very open race, punters, between the three favourites. You've got Zougotcha, Magic Time and Alentia all tied there at $4. And I feel like it's those three or the rest. But now that I've said that, a roughie's probably going to get up now. But how are you seeing this race, mate?
I'm seeing the two Waller fighting out for the win with Alentia and Zougotcha. I think Alentia gets up. I just think Zougotcha's a bit, a bit to the side a bit for Waller. I think he did come out and say he reckons Alentia will win a Group 1. And I think this is the one that they're gonna target. So it looks good. It's got a good price for me. I think it's just at the $4, maybe just a bit less, but its first up win was amazing. Looks really, really nice. I think it's going to be even better second up. Waller's horses run better second up. Should be Alentia for me.
Zougotcha, so strange. Came out. And
it always does this though.
It looked like an absolute, jet first up, splitting Fangirl and Via Sistina, and then just had a very rare off day. Very rarely does she run that poorly. Scratched from last week to come here instead because they thought it would be the better setup against, just her, fillies and mares instead of being in that open. I know the fact that I'm not on her, she's going to get up now and I'm going to rue the day that I didn't get a chance to snag almost 6 points here. But yeah, Alentia was just too impressive first up, not to back. Like, I got to be with you there. Tommy Berry timed that run to absolute perfection.
Hops off Zougotcha for this race as well.
Exactly right. Exactly. And that was the final telltale sign for me, the fact that Tommy's picked this horse instead of getting around Zougotcha, who he's been on a few times in the past, who he was on, first up, who he was on second up, but he's jumped off for Alentia. Yow's gone on for Zougotcha. It's not a bad replacing by any means. Waller's also suggested that she's going to be ridden a bit quieter instead of going all the way forward. So does that bring her undone or does that unlock her? Who knows until race time. But I think going off those last two runs for those horses, Alentia is the one to be with here. So I'm taking it with you.
Awesome. And that brings us.
Yes. All right. So again, we're going to go through the Cox Plate runner by runner. All 9 runners we're going to be going through and telling you why it can win, why it can't win, who's the winner, and then who's our first 4. Again, at any point, guys, if you want to comment who you think is going to win, if you're listening right now, head over to YouTube, comment who is winning the Cox Plate. If you do so, you get 1 entry into our double merch giveaway. If it wins, you get 5 entries. It's as simple as that, guys. We managed to snag Bella Nipotina last week with the runner-by-runner. Didn't snag the Caulfield Cup winner, so we're 1-1 at the moment. Let's try and go 2-1 here and find the Cox Plate winner, mate. I'll quickly go through the speed map for the Cox Plate. Pride of Jenny, obviously going to be at the front. No matter what Tony Ottebray says, surely she's going to the front. I would be absolutely shocked if she takes a sit. If she does take a sit, she's lost the race. Her only way to win this race is to do her thing and roll forward. Are there going to be horses that are going to pressure her? Potentially a Docklands, more likely a Royal Patronage. Behind them will be the chasing pack of a Mr. Brightside and Via Sistina. Broadsiding and Evaporate are either going to be behind them or might be in front of them. With that, they like to get back those horses, but considering that they have such light weights, I wouldn't be surprised if they push forward. I'm predicting they do push forward, but the speed map says here they're going to be more off pace. Then Prognosis and Kovalika are the ones to be behind them. It's going to be a very bunched field, I would think. You know, sitting last isn't going to be like 6-7 lengths last unless Pride of Jenny's off 10 lengths in front. I think it's going to be Pride of Jenny, couple lengths back, very bunched field. So key facts, if you're into that sort of thing, 61 of the past 85 winners have jumped from barrier 7 or shorter. In the last 32 editions, the favourites won 11 times. 4 of the last 9 winners have been internationally trained. Only one horse in the last 14 years has finished worse than third in their final lead-up race to go on to win. And then 10 of the last 25 Cox Plate winners have been female horses. So your Pride of Jennies and your Via Sistinas there, and, you know, don't discount them just because they are female. First runner in the field, Mr. Brightside, Barrier 2, Hayes Trained, Williams Ridden, $8 to win, $2.25 to place. What are your thoughts?
Contender for me. I know you won't be, but I think he did enough to. He almost won. I know he got beaten at Caulfield by Deny Knowledge, but look, almost got there. Ran out the 2,000 meters enough. I can't call him a pretender. Brightside's a contender for me.
Look, we all know it was going to happen. Pretender. It's the only horse that I can confidently say is not winning this race. Yes, Moonee Valley is the only track that he has a good 2,000 meter run at, that being last year's Cox Plate, but he's 0-6 in this distance. I've said it time and time again. I just don't think he's a 2,000 meter horse. I'll be very happy to be wrong because he's such a war horse. He's just a stalwart of the racing industry. He's been an icon of the last couple of years. For him to finally get a Cox Plate, that would be very nice, especially for the trainers as well. So I'll be happy to be wrong, but I just don't think he's a 2,000 metre horse. I think he's going to be 0-7 at 2,000 metres after this race. Narrow placing at best. I think the best he can do is get a narrow second and third like last year.
Fair enough.
Second horse in the field, your current $3.40 favourite. You've got Prognosis out of barrier 5. Nakachita trained. Damien Lane's going to ride here. Pretender or contender, Nick?
Yeah, contender. It's fallen behind Romantic Warrior not too long ago, and Romantic Warrior. We all obviously know the talent there. Yeah, these internationals coming through. Damien Lane, world-class jockey. You just can't call this a pretender. It's a definite contender, if not the leading one. They've set it up nicely for this race. It's had a run this prep as well over in Japan. Obviously, traveling from Japan, it's not too far. It's only a couple of hours, really.
Easier trip than from the UK.
Yeah, so not too bad. Prognosis, definite contender.
Yeah, always need to respect the international runners in the Cox Plate. Like we heard that stat earlier, 4 of the last 9 have been international raiders. Is he better than Romantic Warrior? Probably not. But like you said, wasn't far behind him earlier this year. So that's great form to come off. The only thing is, Nick, he has a bit of Solcombe syndrome, this horse. Loves to miss the jump. Loves to miss the jump. He also is very much so known for some very bad yard and barrier manners. So will he be able to handle all the noise and all the lights of Cox Plate Day? I say yes, because he's raced on very big days over in Japan and Hong Kong. So I feel like that won't be too much of an issue. It's just the missing the jump. If he misses the jump, I can't see him beating this field. If he jumps with them, boy, he'll be hard to beat.
Yeah.
Number 3, Kovalika, barrier 9, Chris Waller trained, Mark Zara ridden, $26 to win, $5.50 to place. What are your thoughts?
Too hard for him. Kovalika, he's good work getting a run in this race, but you should not be in this race, Kovalika.
I'm going to say Pretender, but I can 100% see him slashing down the outside and grabbing fourth here, or maybe even a narrow third. I think this is probably more of a trial run before he potentially heads to a Melbourne Cup. I've had a 5 run him at $50 in case he heads to the Melbourne Cup because, once he finally gets back to a staying trip, maybe we'll finally see the Kovalica of his 3-year-old season. Like I said, I don't think him being sat last, because he'll be sitting last, I don't think he's going to be too far back. But considering tripping over my words here, punters. Considering the turn of foot that some of these horses have going around into that last sort of 100 metres, I think they'll just be able to out-sprint him for that little bit before he can catch them. That's why I reckon maybe 4th, 3rd at best for him. We move to race... Horse 4, Royal Patronage, Barrier 3, Gay Waterhouse, Adrian Bottrain, Mickey D to ride, $31 to win. Thoughts?
Contender, I reckon.
Really?
Yeah, a bit of a surprise here.
Is that just because he's a leader?
Yeah, I think so. On this track, he's not too bad. His third run, I know it was at the 1600 behind Tom Kitten and Joel Wolf, was at a 17th barrier as well, which I think is so impressive to lead from that barrier and then only get snagged by some sweepers, and didn't do too bad in the Epsom either. So that was the Epsom, sorry.
The Hill Stakes.
In the Hill Stakes, sorry, behind Attrition and Kovalica. I'll give him a chance. He's international horse that's come over. See how he goes.
I'm going to say Pretender just because I can't really see him running out a strong 2000. He didn't quite run out the 1900 in the Hill Stakes. He wasn't too bad, but the fact that he's a go-ahead horse, he's going to need to keep up with a hectic Pride of Jenny, you would think. My prediction, messes with Pride of Jenny for a while, tries and presses her, then likely bombs out towards the back late. But if he can somehow sustain that distance and sustain that strong run, he can certainly fall into the placings from a pure fact that he's an on-pacer. But I just don't think that he gets his nose in front. Hence, here's a Pretender. Number 5, Docklands, the second of the international raiders here. Barrier 1, Eustace Train, Shin to ride, $19 to win, $4 to place. Thoughts?
I'm going to give this a miss. I just can't go with every single horse. I do not mind it. I just think the international form, they haven't sent their best horse over. It's come behind. It hasn't really done too well. Like its last run at the 2100 came 7th behind some horses that I'm not too sure how they run. I don't know my international form at all. But I just think there's better chances here. Blake Shin's a plus, but yeah, I'm going to go Pretender.
Pretender, he's the cutoff for me contender-wise. He's the one that scares me the most, labelling him a Pretender, just because he is that international. So, he's the cutoff for me because his best form's over the mile. But Blake Shin is Blake Shin. We've seen crazier things happen. He could definitely get up on a broomstick, so he can get up on this horse. It depends as well what he does from that first gate. Can push forward, can sit back a little bit. I think he probably does press forward and ride the speed and see if he can fall into the placings, but I think a win's beyond him. Like I said, crazy things have happened, but he would be one of the few to kind of surprise me a little bit if he gets his whiskers in front. Happy to put him in exotics though. Number 6, Pride of Jenny, Barrier 7, Mayor Train, Bates Ridden, $4.60. $1.62 if you like a placing for her. What are your thoughts?
Contender, leading contender. We got a lot of futures on her on our shared account, which is pretty cool. But yeah, she's a leading chance. Moonee Valley, been looking at this race for the whole year. Contender. Don't know how you can say she's not. And even if she's not, top 3, almost 100%.
Yeah.
Pretty like you can't leave her out of your trifecta play at all.
What do you do with her? She was vulnerable last start and got beat. Was brave to hold on a second though. Has it gassed her? We won't know till race time. Has the week back up in 2 states affected her negatively? We won't know till race time. Will she not try and lead by 10 lengths like usual? I think she will, but again, we won't know till race time. You could ask as many questions about her as you can about Via Sistina, and I'll get to her in a minute. But look, You have to put a contender simply from the fact that she's the perfect horse from the Valley. We saw that in the Fan Stakes. If they let her have her own way with it and get so far in front, they simply won't be able to run her down, you'd think. I don't think she will get it her own way, though. But you cannot for a second pen her. You cannot for a second rule her out. And like you said, I'll be very surprised to see her anywhere but the top 3. Might not win, but if she's not in the finish, I'll be very, very surprised.
Fair enough.
Number 7, Via Sistina, Barrier 4, Chris Waller trained, J-Mac ridden, $4.40, second favourite currently, $1.57 to place. Arguably was the horse to beat other than prognosis headed into this until what happened on Tuesday. Mate, very, very strange scenes. Got spooked by a broken bandage, dropped J-Mac, and then proceeded to do 3 laps at full speed around Moonee Valley. Has that scared you off, or are you ignoring that?
I'm not too sure. I looked into it a little bit and I saw Glenn Boss come out and say, it's not, I wouldn't say it's normal, but it happens more often than people think. It's just that because it's Cox Plate weekend.
And it's on live TV.
So I'll go contender. I don't know how it'll affect it. Hint, my money won't be there, but she's a good chance. She's been looking for this race as well. Just want to touch before we go to the next runner. Do you think Buckaroo should be in this race? I reckon if it didn't run in the Caulfield Cup, it could be in this field and I'd be like, yeah.
You think Cox Plate instead of the Cups?
Yeah.
I think it would have added a different element to this race for sure. I don't know if it wins, but it definitely would have made it a bit more interesting. It would have taken some horses out and brought more into the equation. It would have been very interesting. I
thought it ran very, very strongly over the 2000, almost ran down Via Sistina last start, obviously, which was a great run in my opinion. I just think with that, I would have gone, unless they're really looking at that Melbourne Cup like, yep, this Caulfield Cup is actually fitness.
Yeah, you've got to see if it presses on to the Melbourne here.
I would have gone Cox Plate and gone, yep, Buckaroo.
As your tip?
Not as my tip. Like if I was an owner or a trainer, I would have gone, yep, Cox Plate looks to be the good one.
Yeah, it's a fair call. It is a fair call. It's had a couple of good runs over, 1,600 to 2,000. So, look, Tuesday was just such a whirlwind. She was out, she was in, she's hurt, she's not hurt, she's fine. This happens all the time. This never happens. She's likely to run, she's not likely to run. There's no dramas here is eventually the last call that come out of the camp. The physios checked her, she's fine. I saw it even on the news. That's how much attention it was getting. She went for a swim today and apparently she's fine. We won't know till race morning if she's going to race. That's what Waller has said. All signs are pointing to her running. I feel like what happened, it would have done one of two things. It would have gotten her super, super fit and ready to ping, and she might come out and dominate them just because she's got that much added fitness in her legs compared to the rest of them. Or it's gassed her and she's cooked. And again, we won't know till race time. If she comes out and she loses, obviously there's an excuse. If she comes out and wins, what's the drama?
Will that affect her price as well? So if you do like it, it might. You never know.
It doesn't seem to have affected her price. She was trading over the board at like $8 once it happened, but she's come in since. Now the call that it's all fine, she's come in. Look. It's hard to take her off that drama, but they won't run her unless she's absolutely perfect. And if she is, you have to trust that her best form can get her right in the finish here. So I'm going to trust that if she does run, she's good to go and she can definitely be in the finish.
Fair enough.
We move to the 3-year-olds now to finish us off. Number 8, Broadsiding, out of barrier 8. Jamie Carr rides here, $6 to win, $1.88 to place.
Contender, I think the weight really, really helps. I thought J-Mac on last start. He just didn't ride it in the way that the track was playing. Probably didn't react to the way that the tempo was racing. I think he just got a bit too far back and it ran home well. I think Jamie Carr will put him in the right spot. 49.5 kilos. Animo vibes, man. Contender.
You have to think from that barrier, he uses the lightweight and just gets a bit more in pace instead of riding for luck all the way at the back like they did in the Guineas. The Guineas run wasn't ideal, but all that weight off the back now and the change of tactics that I think is going to happen, I think it's only going to help. should get the distance. 3-year-olds typically run there or thereabouts thanks to the feathers on their back. I think you certainly can't rule him out. My money won't be on him, but he definitely has the chance to be there or thereabouts. So contender. And we move to Evaporate, horse number 9, barrier number 6. Hayes trained. Teton comes out to ride this all the way from Hong Kong, out of nowhere. This horse wasn't even going to be in the Cox Plate, and they said, no, we're going to accept, and Karis Teton's going to come over and ride it. So it's paying $21 to win, $4.20. Before I ask if it's a pretender or contender, Nick, why is this horse $21 and broadsiding $6 when they had almost identical runs in the Guineas and they have almost identical setups here?
Because broadsiding is the people's favourite. People's favourite.
You think just the punters get around it more because...
Well, that's the way odds work.
Yeah, it's a fair call. But do you think that Evaporate is overs at 21s considering broadsidings at $6, or you just think broadsiding's that much better?
Look, I'd like to see broadside. I think broadsiding's at the right price. I think Evaporate... broadsiding should probably be about $10, and I'd say Evaporate around 15, 16, personally. But look, I don't do that for a reason. I'm going to go pretender only because I need to give some more pretenders out. Otherwise, I'll have the whole field being contenders. I just think ran its best. It's done all it can. There's not much for me that really sticks to me that goes, you can beat some of the horses here. Where I think broadsiding has that look to it, especially with that first up win in the Golden Rose, where he looked like a real champion horse that you just see winners win, like we say. And Evaporate, I know it's won some good starts, but it didn't really have that charisma that I felt when broadsiding won that first up win. So I got to go pretender for me.
I'm just going to go contender because if I'm saying broadsiding's contender, this horse has the exact same setup. It had almost a better run in the Guineas, you can argue. The distance is the query, but if he gets the distance, I can't see why he can't run into the placings, and getting his whiskers in front wouldn't shock me in the slightest. He's also 3 from 3 at the Valley. He's got Valley form, which a bunch of these horses don't have. So, I mean, that's a plus. I have to say he's a contender to finish off the field here. So, after all of that, we've gone through all 9 horses now, mate. Who's you picking and why?
I'm going broadsiding, $6
Had a
for the win.
feeling you'd be there.
I'm a big believer that good horses win no matter what, and they find their way. I know the last run in the Guineas was a negative, but I think will bounce back well. Has been looking for this race. Everything was fitness for this race since autumn pretty much. So Jamie Carr hopping on 49 kilos, absolute feathers, drops 7.5 kilos from its last run. That's a lot for a horse. I know it gets an extra, I think it's the extra 400, but broadsiding for me, I think can get it done. I'm hoping the price gets a bit better though.
Look, call me crazy, guys, but I'm going with this based on the fact that if she runs, she's 100% good to go. I'm going to stick with Via Sistina. I'm going to quickly say that if she doesn't run on the day because she doesn't come up well and they scratch her, I'll be on Prognosis. But I'm hoping that Waller knows what he's doing. If she's good to go, she's good to go. And I think she was, in my opinion, the horse to beat other than Prognosis coming into this on her best. So I'm taking her on that best. Via Sistina for me. If she can keep up with them and keep up with that tempo, which I think she'll be able to, since I don't think Pride of Jenny's going to be 15 lengths out in front like the last couple times they've met. I think Via Sistina can, really run her down. And we know that 2,000 metres is her best. So J-Mac's going to get his 100th Group 1 here. But again, like I said, if for some reason she comes out, I'm just going to stick with Prognosis, the International Raider. Favourite might be boring, but he was my second pick, so I'll have to revert to him. All right, mate. One last thing. Who's your first 4 across the line?
First 4 across the line, I'll go broadsiding, Pride of Jenny. I'll go Royal Patronage, and I'll go Brightside.
Fair enough.
Bit of
Royal
value around
Patronage
there.
to run in the trifecta. Jeez, get around that. Dabble, of course.
No, that was any order.
Will be
Any
our
order.
trifectas.
That was
was any order.
boxed.
Boxed.
Box it up. Box it up.
Box that baby up. First four for me, Via Sustina, Prognosis, Pride of Jenny, and then Broadsiding.
So the first four prices.
Call me boring, but
If it wins, it still pays well.
yeah, call me boring, but that's how we go. So yeah, again, if you want to comment below who you think is going to win, make sure to do so, and we will log you in for the draw for that Dabble giveaway. On the day, we're going to be betting a lot on Dabble as we were on the weekend. So use code MOCSports when you sign up. Gamble responsibly and set a deposit limit when you do so. But away from the big race itself, there's a lot of good races on Moonee Valley on the weekend, both Friday, Saturday night. Before we head to Saturday and see what you have, I just want to quickly ask you, do you have anything for the Moonee Valley Gold Cup on Friday night? It is race 7 on Friday night at Moonee Valley, because I've got one. I've got Akita Sushi. Was phenomenal last start when it, got a bit more up on pace. Just flew home. Almost got the job done at a very big price. It was paying $41 that day. And I think now, if it gets a bit up on pace and just rides that speed and has that thundering finish, can get over the top and at $13 to win $3.40 to place, I'll be very much so cheering heading into Saturday. That'll be a big bank builder. Did you find anything in that race or no?
I don't know how Francesco Guardi's the favourite in this race.
It's just because this time of year he starts to close off well. They reckon he's done enough in the Turnbull 4 lengths behind a Buckaroo and Via Sustain to get it done. This is an easier race than if he was to go to a Caulfield Cup, but they have the intent to get him in the Melbourne Cup, and they need to run a good race here to get him there. So maybe...
Is it instant get into the Cup or...
I can't remember, but
That's
I know that running well in this definitely gets you up in the order of entry. I don't know if it's an automatic win and you're in. That's putting me on the spot, but I definitely know that it gets you up in the order of entry.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll go Serpentine. Ran really well.
I'm shocked you're not on Francesco. I thought you were going to see it and then get straight on it. When you started talking shit, I was very surprised. But
I'll go Serpentine.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to Saturday. Plenty of races to look at in Moonee Valley. What have you found?
I've still got Friday night around the grounds.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
1600, race 3. Verdad, favourite, $2.80. Looks the goods for me. And then I've got a couple more on the Saturday. I've only got 2 more that I really, really like. That's race number 4, Double Market, number 9, paying $5. Michael D on board. And then race 10, I'm going Private Legacy, number 8, $5 for the win. Ran real good last start. Almost won. Got so close. Almost pipped Gringzinger Bell, but couldn't get it done. So very nice. I black booked that one just for the pod.
I've got a couple here. First of the day on Saturday, I'm going Frilled. You were on it when you were down there for grand final weekend, and it should have won. Just got blocked off at the wrong time there. So hopefully comes out and, gets its revenge. Then we're going to go all the way to the JRA Cup, race 5. I'm going to be on Kingswood, $2.30. I'm going to spew my guts up a Future History wins now that I've finally jumped off it. But Kingswood's looked amazing in its last 2 starts, and I think is just going to keep going on with the job here. Then we're going to move to race 6, the Drummond Golf Vase. I'm going with Firm Agreement. It's a horse that comes out of that Swift Falcon, Henline, and Rag Queen race. So that's the form we like. It's the 4 horses that we've got in the Quaddie spoiler for the Spring Champion Stakes. So if I like that form, I like this form for Firm Agreement coming down to Melbourne at $3.60. I think the jump up in distance is also going to help it. And then we go to the McEwen. I believe this was who our listener declared earlier on, Barraquil at $4, but I'm 2 playing this race. I've got extra 2 at $19. I cannot let that horse go around without me on it. Always back your black book, and considering it's at $19, that's a ridiculous price considering how much it loves Moonee Valley. So Barraquil and extra 2 in the 7th for me. And then Royal Champion in the 8th. Was meant to be a Cox Plate horse, but didn't show enough first up to necessitate a start, but also had 61 kilos there and was wide, and the track wasn't really playing to his liking that day. So I think maybe he can bounce back here at $5 to win. quite a lot of horses for me there. Hopefully a few of them get up as we move to the quaddie.
Yep, Quaddie, we got race 7 at Randwick, Swift Falcon, Henline, Rag Queen, El Castello, 1, 2, 3, and 9. Race 8, Zugotcha, Olentia, Magic Time, and Belclair. That's 1, 2, 3, and 5. Race 9, Yellow Brick, Amor Victorious, Territory Express, I Know a Star. That's 6, 7, 11, and 12. Race 10, Zoology, Townsend, Kintyre, and Communist is 4, 5, 7, 11. $50 gets you 19.5% as always.
Yep, hit it last week. Hopefully we go 2 weeks straight. We've been chasing it for a few weeks, having 1 or 2 legs off. But, we tripled your money if you got on the quaddie last week. It was one of those nice ones where it didn't pay a lot, but at least you knew exactly how much you were getting because it paid almost an even $750 there. So you just had to do the math. I thought it was going to pay more, honestly, but to be fair, a couple of favourites did win amongst a couple of value chances. If you're having one bet, mate, around the country, whether that's at Cox Plate Day or it's at Spring Champion Day, maybe you're even going over to Perth for Pikey in the last. Who's your best bet of the day?
I'm going to go for high octane, $6, $2 for a place. There's not much sticking out to me. The only other one was just Party, and I know that you'll cover that in a second. So I'll go something a bit different. I'll go high octane, $6 in the race before.
It's going to be a fun 45 minutes if we sweep them because like you just alluded to there, I am on Just Party race 5, $2.80. I know it's short, but I just think that it should be shorter compared to a node. I think a node's going to challenge it, but the way it's going to close off up to 1600 now, has 1600 meter form. A couple of times where it's gone there, it's been blocked off. We get a clear lane to the line here. I think it's going to use that turn of foot and get over the line as the winner. So Just Party is my best bet around the country.
Awesome.
All right, yes. Before we go, of course, quick thank you to the sponsors. Stridyl, if you're interested in getting into horse racing ownership, head to stridyl.com. We've got an interview with the owners of Stridyl, Haley and David, coming out in the next couple of weeks explaining how you can get involved with horse racing. So please give that a listen when it drops. And then also all of our bets are going to be on Dabble. Use code MOCKSPORTS when signing up to let them know we sent you. Make sure to set a deposit limit and think about what you could be buying instead if you do so. Mate, anything to say to the punters before we go?
Best of luck this week. Have a go. Have a watch. It's good fun to get down the pub with your mates. Best of luck. Easy.
Let's launch, guys.